8 hours after I just uploaded a video of a full breakdown of Halle Bailey's request for a protective order against her ex-boyfriend and her child's father, DDG. Yes, his mother and sister have stepped in the chat to give their thoughts on the whole shebang, all right? So I know y'all are interested to see what they say because I am too, but if I know anything, I know how typically boy moms react when their sons are charged with these type of things. They usually cape for their son. So we're going to see if DDG's mom proves herself any different, all right? So let's go ahead and get into the article. So the first public reaction DDG shared about Halle Bailey's restraining order against him happened on Aiden Ross's live stream. Now, Aiden Ross is another streamer, which, you know, I've heard that he's extremely misogynistic. He's basically a quack, okay? So, DDG was actually on his live stream when he supposedly got the news that the restraining order was granted. But as many people are speculating, DDG already knew about this restraining order or this protective order. He already knew about everything, okay? The most that he found out during that live stream is that it was actually granted by the judge. And again, I want you guys to remember, if a protective order is granted by a judge, that means the person alleging these charges have provided enough evidence to secure the necessary means for this protective order to be instated, okay? So that means Halle Bailey provided receipts. She provided those pictures. She likely provided text messages and a whole slew of other evidence that we are not privy to get this motion granted, all right? Now, so not long after he seen that it was granted on Aiden Ross's stream, his mother stepped in the chat, okay? Tanya Granberry and his sister TeeTee also offered their commentary or their response to this whole protective order, all right? So social media is going off about the bombshell details and evidence Halle included in her petition. Now his family's reactions are continuing to stir the pot per this article, all right? Let's scroll down. So DDG's mother shares this message amid his restraining order, all right? So this is what she had to say. I don't usually comment or say anything on this internet, even with all the negativity, the lies, and hatred towards mine. However, these accusations have made me realize that I have been quiet for far too long, all right? That's what his mother had to say, all right? Let's finish up this part of what she had to say. Despite her message, Mama DDG hadn't shared anything else as of 1 hour after, all right? At least 4 hours before, she shared a Kermit the Frog meme that reads, "Hello, Jesus, take the wheel," okay? Now, I just want to dive into that just a little bit, if I might, all right? First of all, DDG pays all of her bills, okay? That matters, okay? Because the way that she lives, the way that she is able to kind of just wake up and do what she wants and kind of have this free life is due to her son providing the means for her to do that, all right? That's the first thing. The second thing is we are not strangers to the fact that a lot of times these abusive men have sisters and mothers that cape for them, okay? I want to make this clear. Just because, like, I'll use my brother, for example, right? I have a phenomenal big brother. He's amazing, right? But I only know him as my big brother, okay? I don't know him in an intimate sense. I don't know what he does with his wife. I don't know what he says to his wife. I don't know if he curses at his wife. I just know when I'm in his presence and I'm around him or it's just he and I know how he usually is. So we have to stop thinking that just because a person is our sibling, or let's say in the mother's case, a person is your son, that you know that they're not going to do things like this. You don't know them outside of them being your son or your brother, okay? Halle Bailey knows DDG on a totally different level than his mother and his sister does, right? Because Halle was able to experience him in an intimate fashion. She was able to see different things that wouldn't be posed to his family, like jealousy regarding other men, like violence against them, things dealing with sexual nature, right? Your mom and your sister aren't privy to that side of you. Your girlfriend or your ex-girlfriend is. So I just want to make that clear. Like, I'm not shocked by her reaction. She's kind of trying to remain neutral, kind of sort of neutral, but kind of sort of siding with DDG on the fact that it's like, these are lies. Honey, they're not lies, okay? The protection order was granted because it was not a lie. She provided sufficient evidence, and that's why it was granted. If there weren't sufficient evidence, then it would not have been granted, okay? Let's think. All right, let's continue, you guys. Now, aside from his mother's message, DDG's sister, TeeTee, also reacted to the restraining order. Unlike Tanya Granberry, though, TeeTee is seemingly choosing to stay out of the co-parents drama. In a video circulating on social media, the sister said, "I've already seen the TMZ post and I'm not going to speak on it. So yeah," T said with a slight laugh. Let's see if they'll let us play this video.
"I've already seen the TMZ post, and I'm not going to speak on it. So, yeah."
Just vibe, twin.
Sound like the guy said, "Just vibe, twin," or something like that. But like I said, I don't expect anything else from his family members. This guy takes care of his family, okay? He is the provider for his family. He ultimately secures his family's future with his own means. So that, in addition to the just the nature of it all, I don't expect them to hold him accountable. Like, hell would freeze over before I would expect a mom and a sister to hold their abusive son/brother accountable. That is very rare. You don't see that often. You really don't see that often. That's why their reactions do not surprise me at all. So let's see if anything else was said in regard to this. Okay, on Wednesday, May 14th, TeeTee took to her Instagram stories with an additional message. She wrote, "The devil is working, but God is working harder," adding a prayer hand and red heart emojis. So they're kind of just, it's not that she is remaining neutral, nor the mother. They're on DDG's side, but they don't want to be so blatant in the fact that they're siding with DDG, because they know the evidence is out there that DDG was violent towards Halle Bailey and was, you know, not only violent, but controlling, mean, you know, just overall wicked towards her. So they don't want to, in the public, like, side with him, but they want to make, like, neutral statements online to where, you know, because people are wondering, what is the mom? What is the sister going to say? Right? They are also social media figures. So people are expecting them to comment on it in some type of regard, in some type of proximity. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but people are looking for them to chime in some capacity. That's the word that we're looking for. And this is the capacity that they're choosing to comment on the situation. So I want you guys to let me know, does this surprise you? Because again, it does not surprise me. All right. It just does not surprise me. All right. You can say the devil is working, but God is working harder. I don't know what that's in reference to exactly as it pertains to Halle Bailey and DDG. But if anything, yes, the devil is working, but God is working harder in the sense of revealing exactly who your brother is. Okay. So God is working harder in revealing exactly who your brother is. All right. Now, this article basically just recaps what's going on, what brought about this whole restraining order, protective order. I have a video in a full depth explanation regarding this whole case. So if you want to get the scoop on exactly what's going on and what triggered Halle to file it, everything that she's been through with DDG, the pictures of her bruises of her chipped tooth that DDG caused. If you want the proof and the evidence of all of that, definitely check out this video that I'll be posting at the end of this one. But let me know your guys' thoughts about this, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye.